Y'all are
We could
sweet.
do
Y'all
a
are
whole
sweet.
ass like 4 hours on you alone. Are you kidding me?
Dude.
Yes, I'm like, it's layers. Yes.
Maybe a documentary on you later. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thrive By podcast, the podcast that was inspired to carry on conversation from the GERM documentary, where we actually have conversations with our guests talking about their purpose, passion from pain,
Yep.
and just taking that conversation and sharing it with you guys. My name is JR.
And I'm Kirin. And today we have another very special guest joining us. This is Mercedes Tiggs, licensed clinical social worker, entrepreneur, all-around baddie, and a dear friend
Rep
and
that.
colleague of ours.
Let's go. Welcome.
So hi, Mercedes. Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to kick it off. So just to give you all some context on how we all three know each other, I'm going to ping it over to JR.
Okay. So for these two in particular, actually, so if you guys watched the previous episodes, I actually met Kirin. She invited me to speak at some of her classes. And to this day, every single semester, I'm a part of those classrooms, and Mercedes is the instructor of that class. Mercedes, what class is that again?
It is Human Services 75 at San Diego City College, working with homelessness and at-risk populations. And so JR is one of our favorite speakers we have during the semester that comes to our class to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you talk about when you're in the class?
Dude, so every time that I go to this classroom, I know it's students that are attempting to get into some sort of social work, and particularly with homelessness.
Right.
So I think that's why you had me on board in the first place,
Yep.
because just doing homelessness work out in San Diego, but I'm still doing the job to this day, different organizations throughout time. But every single semester, I just talk about homeless services and just talking the seriousness of what homelessness entails,
Yeah.
what type of mental health process that you're probably going to endure when you're involved into the field, and just talking to them on a serious note rather than just giving them the educational piece.
Yeah.
My biggest thing was every time that I'm going to talk with students, we need people in this field. Homelessness is such one of the biggest problems that we have in California, and in my mind, it's not an easy type of role to get into. But a lot of the times that when you get into social services, you want to do social works or you want to just help out, it's because there's something it's like a lived experience that someone goes through.
Yes.
And then they want to be a part of it somehow, some way. And luckily enough, the classroom that you guys are teaching at, you guys are able to prepare them as much as possible before they get into the field. Yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm grateful for being a part of that classroom, because that. So it's not just me. I put on my homegirl Jana Lee.
Shout out to Jana.
Yeah. So she is one of the associate directors at PASS. She's running the outreach side of things. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was doing the class, I would always tell Jay, "Yo, Jay, you want to hop onto this class?" And we just talk about homelessness, and we talk about how we got into it. And Jay is like, "Hell yeah, let's go." And so we've been doing it ever since. So it started with me, and then probably 2 years after, then it was just me and Jay. So every semester, that's our favorite part of the year, because we do it twice a year at least. Yeah. And we talk about it all the time. We're this is why we do it, because we want people to be influenced about what it is that we do, I feel like that's the same with you guys as well. But I did want to ask, why is it that how did the both of you actually get into the teaching field of social work?
Well, I before we go into my comment on that, I think it ends up being something that we just kind of find ourselves in. And I do want to preface, because I want to focus on Mercedes' journey here, because part also of what I make an effort to do with our students and the people who are teaching our students is to have folks who have lived through it, have folks who also reflect our students. Our students are very racially, socioeconomically diverse at San Diego City College. We have a high number of students who were impacted by the justice system, many of them who lived through the child welfare system, many who have just gone through quite a bit. And it was really important to me to have people who can share those experiences firsthand, because we don't often see that growing up. Like, we don't have educators who know what it's like to live the way some of us have. And I feel very blessed to have Mercedes. Mercedes actually came through us. She was already working at City, but she is a mentee of one of our other colleagues, Dr. Jennifer Cosillo. So shout out to you, Jen.
Yeah.
But I'll bring it over to Mercedes, because Mercedes has such a unique background. She's not only a therapist and a clinician, but she does this in a unique way. But we also have her as an instructor. She's been a counselor. So you want to talk a little bit? I know that you do so much right now, Mercedes. So
Yes.
so
Many hats.
maybe before we get into everything that you do now, I think one of my favorite questions, and one of the themes that we have in this podcast, is we like to feature people who are doing meaningful work in our communities.
Yep.
But we all got here for a reason. I feel like everyone who's in this work was motivated by not always the most joyous foundations.
Right.
People have been through it. But you find those who fortunately take, like what Jay was saying, take that pain and turn it into purpose and passion. So where would that start for you in your life, Mercedes?
Before I start that journey, just again, shout out to JR, who comes to our class every semester with lived experience and personal experience, so much where students were like, we need them first on the presenter list. Like, yeah, you save the best for last, but can we move them up? So shout out to you and Jay for just coming through every semester. And funny story, I was just having this conversation last night because we were celebrating Dr. Jen Cosia on celebrating her doctorate degree. And when she was entering that program, she reached out, and we had a conversation literally a month before about me being ready to teach and wanting to teach. And just couldn't break through and getting a counseling class, because at the time I was a counselor, and most counselors teach the counseling courses. And so something said, just pivot like we do, just pivot and do something else. And so pivot and go towards your discipline. I have an undergrad in criminal justice and sociology, and then a master's in social work. So it was like, get into those departments, right? Because they'll lead you farther. Sometimes other universities don't have counseling courses, but they have a social work program. And so Jen reached out and was like, hey, I'm starting my doctorate program. There could be an opportunity for you. I think you're ready to teach. And I was like, I don't think I'm ready.
Right.
Teaching a class, a syllabus, all that was intimidating. And she's like, I think you're ready. I think you're ready. And literally the rest was history. And I've been teaching ever since, and I have the opportunity to do it each semester, and each semester it's different, and it's a different type of humbling experience where you have students showing up literally in their hospital beds, like, just to get through class.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like, hey, you can turn the camera off because I respect confidentiality. Just, you showed up in a hospital bed. And so that just means all the world to me, and it lets me know that we have a special class and a unique class and something good at City College with the peer program.
Didn't we have one on house arrest too? Remember?
Yes, one on house arrest. And then we had someone who was incarcerated. So during the week, they would be incarcerated and then get to come out to work and do things like that.
And they'd sign on.
I actually, so when I was working in San Diego, I actually met somebody that was experiencing homelessness a part of your guys' classes. Not going to mention anything, but to me, that was, it was special to me, one, because I know y'all and I know like the impact of the classroom, but two, for that person to also experience homelessness and go through the class themselves. It shows how much you guys understand their situation, because I feel like anytime that someone is going through homelessness, it's hard for them because they're all in their survival mindset, and the fact that they're a part of your guys' classroom, that it means a lot. I don't know how to like phrase it exactly, but it's powerful.
Well, I think it shows that they want to change their circumstances.
Most
And they
definitely.
know that education, and this is where we can get into your journey too. We know, and this is why I'm such a big advocate, not just because I teach, but we know that when you access education, in particular higher education,
Yeah.
you can change your life, knowledge wise, income wise, opportunity wise.
Definitely.
But that access isn't the same for everyone.
Right.
So you had mentioned, Mercedes, you were an undergrad in Soc and criminal justice. So how did
Yes.
that all come to be?
And so I am a product of South Central Los Angeles. Proudly.
Rep your
I
Crenshaw.
wear it. I wear
As
it
you
proudly.
should.
I
You should
have
always be proud.
such pride for my city. And it's interesting because I'll get into how my siblings feel about our city later.
Sure.
But born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, raised by my maternal grandmother. I was born to a mother who was a systems mother. And so literally every kid she had, she lost to the system. And so in California, when you're born with drugs in your system, AKA drug babies, you are automatically removed and you belong to the state of California. So I spent 18 years in DCFS, so the Department of Children and Family Services. And I emancipated at 17 and moved down to San Diego. And my last meeting with my social worker, she said it was this thing where you could divorce your parents. And I was like, I can divorce my grandma? And she's like, you can divorce her. She won't claim you on anything. And like, you can be this independent person. When you're a system kid, everything is mandated. And so the idea of having this like newfound freedom and things wouldn't be mandated, I could be my own independent person, was just like, yes, let's go. And so I emancipated and moved out to San Diego. But prior to moving to San Diego, I went to Crenshaw High. We lived in the Crenshaw district. Shout out to 59th and 5th Ave in Aramis, because that was our neighbor before he was Nipsey to the world. Yes, fun fact. I always say fun fact.
We have
Aramis.
a big Nipsey fan in the room
That's
right
who
now.
I know him as Aramis, but the world knows him as Nipsey.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so just growing up, like in the district, I'm a district kid, a proud district kid.
Yeah.
And so,
Wait, were you living with your grandma at this point?
yes, I was living with my grandma at this point. My mom had she had 5 kids total, but she would have kids like every 2 to 3 years. So my brother, my sister, then my brother, and literally every kid she had, my grandma had. And so there was times where we moved because accommodation. So you have one kid and you have to meet these qualifications to be a foster parent, and then you get another kid. Now it's a boy and a girl. They need different rooms. And then 2 years later, she's having another kid. Okay, now we have to get a bigger space. And then a year later, another kid. And so now we need to get a bigger space. And so I just thank God for her and being present and where she was at the time.
Yeah.
And to my biological mother, too, because I think it's a huge sacrifice to say, hey, like, I can't do this right now. I need you to step in and do it. And so I thank her for making that sacrifice.
Yeah.
And so I grew up on my maternal side and just worked extremely hard to get to where I am. I love LA, and it's so interesting with the like GERM documentary and your brother's story and like gang culture, right? Because that's where we were around in LA. Like you couldn't like go anywhere. I went to Crenshaw, and so I lived in the Rolling 60s neighborhood. And so whether we wanted to be a part of it or not, where we walked to school and came home from, we were surrounded. And so I could go to parties or do things, and I always felt like this sense of protection. You know, I got my brothers, I got the bros, like we're here. My little brother ended up joining the gang. And that was interesting, right? I went to school with people who actually like put him on.
Yeah.
And he lied and said he got jumped at the bus stop, and we're like, oh, okay. And then some people rode up to the house looking for him, and they had said his name, and we're like, no, we don't know that person.
Right.
They don't live here. And then they described him, and we're like, that little. He said he got jumped last week. Okay, he got jumped into a gang, right? And so then you have, I'm like right smack in the middle. I have an older brother, older sister, a younger sister, younger brother. So literally right smack. And so I have an older brother who was shot on Fifth Ave, literally in front of Nipsey's grandma's house. and his love and take for LA is totally different from ours. Like, he hates it, and he hates gang culture, and he hates everything about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, a song comes on, I'm like, hey, my city, we're here. But it's so funny and interesting to hear my siblings who grew up in the same neighborhood in the same house, and like what LA is for me and means to me means something totally different for them based on their experience. But just being a kid in the system, our house was interesting. We were the house. So like anyone going through a phase in life was staying at our house. So it could be like 20 people at a time. We're in a 4-bedroom, 1 bath, in line for a shower, hurry it up type thing. My grandma was the neighborhood grandma. Like everybody called her.
She was everybody's grandma.
Everybody called her granny. She was like the neighborhood grandma. But a lot took place in that house, and I jokingly laugh and say we could have got took from the system, although we were in the system, just based on the things that we saw and just experienced in living in the neighborhood. And then that experience just inspired me to work hard. And so when it came to college, that was it was never a spoken thing in the house. My grandma had a middle school education. And so she had a kid at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, twins at 25.
Wow.
And so she was able to get me, I would say like up to high school, and then we had that role reverse. Like she wasn't ignorant or anything, but I was explaining the paperwork.
You were a
here,
first
sign
gen
here.
student. Yeah.
Got it.
And so we didn't talk about college or going to school. It was a college center at Crenshaw High.
Okay.
Miss Powers,
Oh,
our college person on campus that really like sparked the idea of me going to college.
Yeah.
Or even pursuing an education. My grandma didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
Again, she got me to about high school, and then it was, I always say it's like that realization at the end of I Am Sam, if you've ever seen the movie. And baby girl has that realization that, okay, dad may be a little different than I am. Like, he shows up, he's my dad, and I love him, but dad is different. And so I had that same realization going into high school. Like, Granny got me so far based on her education, right? And roles reversed. And then I'm like parentified at like 10, 11, running a whole household.
Yeah. That makes sense. So you became the family manager at that point?
The family manager, but I had a price. I charged, all right? I charged siblings to cook and to just do different things. But then I was just always a different kid. I remember we could never put things on the wall. And, you know, back then they had Word Up magazine, Source magazine. And I mean, you got a whole printout of Usher. What you mean we can't put like anything up on the wall? And she finally gave us the opportunity. And my sister had like Immature and Usher and Brandy and just, you know, the whole thing. And she looks over and I have Backstreet Boys and Christina Aguilera.
Really,
and
Mercedes?
she's like literally the room was like segregated, right? With posters on the wall. And she's like,
two different passions.
you're going to be a different one, I see. And I was just always different, like in the house reading, just like doing different things. And so it allowed my siblings to have also a different kind of protection. Like, we'll fight your battles and do everything because like you're going to make it. And we know you are. Like, we got you. And even in the way my grandma parented, like very hard on me, like extremely, extremely hard. To where when I came to San Diego and I had left LA, I was like, if something happens to that lady, like, don't call me or anything. I just did 18 years in the system. Like, I'm out. She was very strict. Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. And so I joke and say I was raised in California, Mississippi, because we grew up very Southern Baptist, like everything.
Yeah.
Body is a temple, church for 3 hours on a Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. Very, very strict.
Wow.
And so when I became an adult and I was comfortable to have that conversation with her, it allowed me to understand her better. A Black woman growing up in the South, you know, she's like, I was married in a house at 15 and then you're raising kids. When my little brother left the house, the last kid to leave the house, she was in her 60s. And so when parents are raising kids and they're going to like you're in your 40s, kids are out to college or out exploring life. My grandma was in her 60s when the last kid left the house, and she had started at the age of 15.
Yeah.
And so when I moved away and had those tough conversations, like, why were you so hard on me? Like, it was just like, hard lady. And she was just like, I saw something in you I didn't see in the others. And I was like, but did it have to be like that hard? And it was like, but it kept me focused, right? And I was like, well, yeah, it was, let me work hard so financial aid and anything is not a problem, right? When it comes to getting out this house, we're not going to say we don't have it.
Right.
And so literally full ride everywhere, accepted to everywhere. And so you can't tell me no because you're not paying for anything.
Right.
And so when I left at LA at 18, it was a new city. No one knows me. No one knows my story. No one knows I'm in foster care. No one knows about my parents. My bio parents met in the gang life. Dad was a part of a gang. Mom was a part of a gang. I met my dad for the first time at his funeral, and I only knew his hood name. Never knew his name. I didn't find out his name until I got that obituary.
How old were you?
I was 9, and we buried him a week before my birthday. And so then I became an adult, and I started Googling him.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dang, I've learned more about him through Google.
Wow. So
And different
similar.
things in his gang activity than meeting him as a person. And I was his only kid.
Oh.
And so that was also interesting too. I remember being at his funeral and meeting all these people, and I'm like, I have no idea who you all are.
But did they know who you were?
They knew who I was.
They
I was
probably
his
been
only
waiting
kid.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Had been waiting. An interesting story too with that. Had a family member who knew where we were when he did get out of prison. He was one of the first folks with Freeway that brought drugs to Seattle and set up dope houses in Seattle. And so when he got caught, it was like, we're going to make an example out of you. That's when they're really cracking down on crime.
Yeah.
So I was born in February of 88. October of 88, he was sentenced to like 15, 20 years.
Right.
And he knew my mom had a drug problem. And so I hear stories of him always, was physically and emotionally abusive and wanting her to be clean and stay clean while she was pregnant with his child.
Yeah.
But we did have a family friend when he was released. She knew where we were. She knew where he was. And at his service, she disclosed that. She just never wanted to tell him where we were. She didn't know how my grandma was going to react to it.
Yeah.
Because that was our legal guardian. She didn't know what my grandma would do, what he would do. But they knew where we were at the same time. We just never had a chance to make that connection.
Oh, dang, Mercedes.
I know.
I'm like letting this all see. You've had such an incredible story. And I think I see you where you are now. And this is my first time hearing this background of hers. I had known that she's had a story. And this is why we're like, we got to get her on here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've been dying to hear it too. But to be able to share this with people,
Yeah.
because you've come such a long, long way.
A long way.
A long way. And I really appreciate that you also have this really complex view of the people who loved you. Like your granny could only do so much, right? But she carried you as far as she possibly could. Your mom, at the time, she was smart enough and still loved you enough to say, you know what? I want to have this baby. Can't take care of her, but I want to give her to somebody who can. And then even just right now, what really struck me about your dad, and not excusing any of the actions that he had done in his lifetime, but the fact that he wanted the mother of his child and his baby to be born as healthy as you could be, that still shows this level of he was excited to have you. He wanted you to have as good a start as you possibly could have
Right.
at that time. So I appreciate that you also bring this lens And this is also why we wanted you to be on.
Thank you. I know folks always, when I do share a lot, my friends will say, I've known you 15 years.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just hearing that for the first time. And I'm just like, well, you didn't ask. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also embracing it and embracing foster care and it being a part of my identity, because my siblings and I, they won't say it. They won't say foster care, I'm a foster kid. My little sister will, because she's like utilized services and resources, but how it's like a part of my identity.
Yeah.
The reason why I do the work, the reason why I've done the work,
Yeah.
it's different for my siblings. They won't say it. And homelessness is dear to me because we experienced our bio mom being homeless and seeing her on the street. And you have friends. Is that your mom? Is that your mom pushing the basket? We're like, no, that's not her.
Oh, wow.
Or her pulling up to the house with her basket and my grandma saying, you better not open a door. You better not open a window. Don't drink after her. Don't eat after her. And then the morning coming and she's in the house. And my grandma's like, who opened the door and let her in? It was always my big sister, China. And to this day, China's there. My bio mom name is Willie Mae. And she's Willie Mae protector. I always say you're such a good daughter and how she shows up in that area of life for her. But she would always open the door and my grandma would wake up and say, like, who let her in? And we would be like, China, and she would come in and sleep for days. And as a kid, we didn't know. We're like, oh, she's tired. She's resting, right? Yeah. And so you become an adult like, oh, she was coming down. Because she would literally just wake up, eat, go back to sleep for like days. And we're like, oh, she's resting. We're like, yeah, she's been pushing baskets. She's tired. Not able to understand the full story. And I thank my grandma too, because when you're removed and you're in the system and you're now placed with that legal guardian can do whatever they want. Yeah. My grandma made it where we had a relationship with our biological parents and we knew them. Yeah. And so we're all half siblings. Mama was a Rolling Stone. Oldest have their dad. I have my dad. Little sister has her dad. Little brother has her dad. Mm-hmm. You'll never hear us say half ever. Yeah. We're siblings. We're brothers and sisters. Yep. And so with that, my grandma just made sure we knew who they were. Yeah. Oldest knew their dad. I knew my dad. Little sister knew her dad. Her dad would come and pick her up and take her places. And I would get invited, like, you want to come? And no, my dad's coming for me, type thing, and like stay back. Little brother has his dad. And it's interesting because they probably spent the most time together being incarcerated than ever being outside of prison. It's just a crazy, crazy story. I always say, like, I can write a book with just like the different dynamics of everything. But I'm just definitely grateful to God and my grandmother for just giving up a job to become a full-time foster parent. To say, hey, I'm going to raise these kids. Yeah. She had 7 kids, and at some point in time, she raised their kids. And so imagine having 7 kids, and you're thinking, like, 7 and we're done, or, like, grandkids, and that's it.
She
and
was
literally
never done.
Yeah.
Every grandkid, like, came through her door. And so, like, my cousins are my first friends. It's a lot of us. Yeah. Big family. And she passed 4 years ago, and when she passed, just... and how everybody grieved, it was like, dang, like, that's my granny, right? That's my best friend. But she was a lot of folks, like, parents, like my cousin, like, taking it hard, like, that's my mom and another cousin. And here I am thinking, like, she was just the mom for me. But my cousins are like, no, granny. And I'm like, she was all things community. And so I am, because of her. And growing up, you want to feel better, you want to do better, you serve. Yeah. Like, you serve your community. And so I like to think I was born with a servant's heart. She had a servant's heart. She was all about the community and just never being ashamed of who you are and where you come from. Yeah. Plenty of times we stayed in line where we knew she was going to go home and wrap those Christmas gifts, right? But head up high, you stand in line proudly. Why are you hiding? Why don't you want anybody to see you? And just being proud of who you are. And I tell the folks I work with, and sometimes clients, when they're like, you're pro-Black, aren't you? And I'm like, if it's a difference being raised by someone that's Black And then there's a difference being raised by someone who loved being Black. And that was my grandma. And so like Black on the wall, Black figurines, Black everything. And so the full lips and the full features and everything that, you know, we hated, now a $1 billion industry. Granny made sure that.
That's a clip right there. That's going to be a clip right there.
Like, and so I just take pride in being who I am and my story. And I used to be embarrassed. I never said foster kid. And I was in foster care, and senior year comes and I'm getting like all these scholarships and all these opportunities. And friends are like, foster care? You're a foster kid? You never said that. And I'm like, oh, well, you never
asked.
Yeah.
You never asked.
Yeah.
But yeah, times I missed school or pulled out of school for appointments. In grade school, I remember being pulled out of school, go to the nurse's office. We were part of the foster care trend where Ritalin was a whole entire era. And so being pulled out of class just to take that, I don't know what that is. I can concentrate. I think I'm a good student.
Right. They just automatically did that without a diagnosis?
Like being in care I just felt like everything was mandated. So, you know, you have your 6-month checkups because social workers, judges, they need reports.
Sure.
And so when I did therapy, it wasn't until my adult years of doing therapy, I realized I had done surface level therapy for like a decade of just, because that first time I was honest, my grandma was like, what? No, you're in trouble. One, you embarrassed me in front of those white people. Being a Black woman from the South, that was a thing for my grandmother.
Yeah.
And so that was another reason why I think we were always like tasked to like show up, present yourself, you're a representation of your family, your church, our name, but also you're not about to embarrass me in front of these white people.
Yeah.
And where you go and like and what you do. And so my first time being honest with the therapist, I got my ass whooped. Like, you told them what was going on in our home, and I'm like, well, she asked, like, it's therapy. And so then after that, it was what can get me through this 45 minutes and not get me in trouble.
So was Granny in the room with you during
Granny was not in the room. I don't know how she found
I
out
was gonna say, how'd she-
or whatever,
What
but
happened to
she was just
confidentiality?
like,
I know, for real.
No HIPAA? There was no HIPAA back then?
Something
For
I
real.
said, I'm telling you, we had a lot of activity in the house where we probably could have got taken from her.
Yeah.
So whatever I mentioned, it was like, you don't do that. And so therapy was very surface level for me. And so when I became an adult, I was like,
so real.
oh, I could be honest and I'm not gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so imagine being like, I'm healed, I'm in therapy, I've been doing this 10 years. And you find out it's surfaced. Or you kept it very safe
Yeah.
to protect your house.
Wow. Just to keep that guarded. Dude.
That's a real fear for your granny, though. I mean, it was like, don't embarrass me. We got to present ourselves a certain way because you're fighting like for 100 years of stereotypes, right? You're in all kinds of ways. But I'm sure she was also thinking like, I need to be able to keep you in this house because you're right. They could have placed you or any of your siblings elsewhere. And you're a social worker now, and you know how hard it is to be able to place children, especially as they get older.
Most definitely.
So she was probably also thinking pragmatically, like, don't say anything that could get you removed
Right.
from the house.
I jokingly, me and my siblings were just laughing like, hey, remember when Willie Mae gave up the car for collateral? And like all the times my grandma had to buy her car back, like.
Yeah, because when they file, right? The car.
When we're going down the street, dope man, and you don't have money, you'll say, oh, well, just take my mom's car. So we're waiting at school to get picked up, and we don't get picked up.
Yeah.
We end up walking home, and we come home. Well, the car's not in the driveway. My grandma's home. She didn't drive. Where's the car? And then you got a big, scary man coming to knock on the door in the evening, and it's like, oh, they sold the car. And again, as a kid, it's crazy saying it out loud now, because as a kid, you just don't know. Like, okay, they sold the car. What? Like, she'll just get it back. But the amount of times my grandma, like, bought our vehicle back was just, like, crazy.
Yeah.
Or couldn't find when you couldn't find a pen in the house to do homework. because they've transitioned all our pins to other things. Or you're just using the bathroom and you find something in the windowsill and you're like, Granny, and she's like, put it down, like just put it down. And as a kid, you don't know. And then you get older and you see things on TV. Yeah. And so like shows like The Wire, my favorite show ever. I'm like, oh, like that's what happened. And so interesting now, I have a hard time watching shows like Power, BMF, and things like that. Because I'm just like, I lived it.
It's too real.
Like Snowfall. Snowfall is the realest show. Like if you've ever seen Snowfall, it was like that.
I have a hard time watching certain shows too because we live that.
We lived it. Like,
and then we live it vicariously again through our students and clients
and again.
I don't need to see it.
Yeah. No. And when Nipsey said, were you born in the 80s? Did your mom smoke cocaine? And I'm like, dude, yes, I was born in the 80s and that happened. But when you watch Snowfall, it's like, hey, that's my life. Like, that's when the crack epidemic hit LA.
Yeah.
And my mom and her siblings were so close in age. Well, one did, they all did.
Right.
Well, one tried, they all tried.
Right.
She just tried it and it hit her differently. But it is hard, like, watching shows like that, and people say, like, you don't watch it, you know. I'm like, no, it's kind of like,
it's too close to home.
I'll watch a couple episodes, but I don't need to see it.
So at 18, you were able to legally emancipate yourself. You fought your ass off to get these opportunities. So you came down here. And where did you go straight into university when you came down here to San Diego?
Yeah, so I was lucky or blessed enough to receive a full ride to San Diego State.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes, Aztecs, go Aztecs. And at the time, and that was in 2006, so I graduated high school 2006. Foster youth programs on college campuses were like just coming on the scene for like support. And it's different when you live in counties, right? So I was coming from LA County. And so resources in San Diego are also different. Yes, you qualify for some, but some can be different because it's county-based. And so I received a full ride scholarship to come down. And so literally a month after high school, I started SDSU, and I was part of the EOP program. Yeah. And I did Summer Bridge. So I got to start like the summer before. That was a blast. During high school, I actually came down to San Diego, and we did Freshman for a Day that was hosted by EOP. And that's a program that supports like first-gen students. And so I came, and I'm like, okay, I like the weather. This is cool, but I got to get into EOP. If I don't get into EOP, I'm not coming. And so I actually received my admissions letter before I got my admissions letter to the EOP program. And I let it sit there, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, I got a deadline for intent, but I'm still waiting for the EOP program because they provided the experience, and I need it to be just like that. And so once I received my letter for EOP and getting accepted into the program, I like submitted my intent to enroll at like the very end. And so I came down, and about a year later, they established a foster youth program on campus. And that was the Alex Smith. That was the Alex Smith Guardian Scholars. So yes, part of one of the first Alex Smith classes.
What does that entail?
So Alex Smith at the time was the quarterback for the 49ers, born and raised in San Diego. His dad was the principal of Helis High School, and he just wanted to give back to the community, and so he established the Alex Smith Foundation. And with that, they adopted a group of foster youth students from San Diego State. And so they paid for my college education while I was at San Diego State, and not just paying for it, but like very involved, very, very involved in us. And I would say that was like the one scholarship that just didn't send the check to the school, but like actually had involvement where they wanted like progress reports and how we would do. No matter if Alex had a game and what he was doing on season, off season, he made it where he would come for holiday events. When the Niners would play in San Diego, we would get to go to the games and support him. And so I thank God for the Alex Smith Foundation. And I actually met Jennifer there, Dr. Cosillo, formerly known as Jennifer Martinez. And so Jennifer worked and coordinated.
She wasn't even married yet.
She was not married yet. I told her last night, I was like, I remember when you met Hector. But
was she a student there
she
too?
worked for the Consistence Organizing Center at San Diego State. And at the time, the Alex Smith foundation was housed there, like in collaboration with the EOP program at San Diego State. So Jen has been around, like,
She
I was
knew
like, you met
when
me at
when
18
you
and I'm
first came
37.
down.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so I reported to Jen on a weekly and monthly basis.
Wow.
Because she was over the program at the time, her and Jessica Robinson.
Yeah, I was one of the first employees for the COC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes. I love them. And so literally my sophomore year, I got connected to them and became a Alex Smith Guardian Scholar, like did an interview over the phone. And just last night, Jessica was like, I still remember your interview. And I was like, I was so LA, huh? She was like, you were. I was like, probably so professional, but thanks for I'm professional, but thanks for giving me a chance. And even the EOP director at the time, Reginald Blaylock, a dear mentor, friend, father figure, he jokingly says, you are extremely polished now. Like when you came, you were so LA. You were gonna let everybody know you're LA. If it wasn't the hair, it was the nails. You repped your city to the fullest. So people be like, this is Mercedes. She's from LA. Like it was part of the introduction. But my first year in San Diego, I actually struggled because it was a calm city, very calm, nice and slow.
Yeah.
And back when the Greyhound was $20. I was on that Greyhound. I was on that Amtrak every weekend. And my grandma would say, stay.
Just stay.
Every weekend she would call, did you find a church home yet? Did you find a church home yet? And so, and that's how our relationship evolved, right? Because remember, I said when I left at 18, like, I'm just about to start a whole new life, right? No one knows me or my story. And so she would call and check on me. And just through those checkups and conversation, I got to know a different side of her. Because you'll let my siblings tell it, my cousins tell it, like, Granny didn't play, like, very, like, brutally honest, will hurt some feelings, but very soft and sensitive. And you had to really get to know her to see that and just understand. And then being in social work and pursuing social work, right? We do genograms and bio assessments and things like that, and just it really helped me understand her as a person. Okay, this woman who started having kids at 15 in the South, the relationship was abusive. I have a picture of her on my phone with her 6 children, like coming to LA, young, 21, like couldn't imagine just navigating life at that time. And we would just have different conversations, but she was really big on me finding a church. So she would call, and that 2 weeks into summer break, she was like, you haven't called home in 2 weeks. I'm in San Diego. I'm having so much fun. I went to Mexico. She's like, what?
But did you go to church?
Did you go to church? Did you find a church?
Did you find a church in Cabo?
I'm still looking, and the Rock Ministry at the time came to San Diego State before they were in Point Loma, and they had the Rock Student Ministry. Yep, found a church. It's on campus. It's called the Rock. But she would still even call after that and me finding a church and just talk about different things. And before you know it, we were calling each other like best friend. And I know I have family members now who probably don't and probably won't ever understand the dynamic when they think about my upbringing and they think about the treatment and what I experienced in my upbringing, right? So when I say my grandma was hard on me, she was hard. And so, like, cooking, cleaning, like, running the house literally with her. Cousins, like, can she come outside and play? No. Can she do this? No. And really not rebelling until my senior year, because I was like, lady, it's senior year. Like, I work hard. I'm on ASB. I'm BSU president. If you say my name on campus, they're going to say, Mercedes, the one that's in all the clubs. Yes, I was all the clubs because I did not want to be home type thing. And they just wouldn't understand it. And sometimes I don't think they don't. And I've had cousins like, how did you guys get there? And when did you guys get there? Because I used to be mad for you. Or I used to hate her because of you and that. And now you guys are calling each other best friend and you're just so close. And I said, I finally took the chance to understand her, and she finally had the chance. When you have 20 people in the house and coming and going and different things like that. Yes, I remember like getting kisses when she dropped us off to school. I remember asking her not to kiss me, right? But Granny was never the warm and fuzzy. But I don't think she had time to be warm and fuzzy. but you could see it would come out in different and things and how she expressed herself and different things. And so, and just calling for me to find a church, that really changed our relationship. And then we started talking. And then I found out my checks were still coming to the house, right? I talked to my social worker. And I was like, Granny, I think mail is coming there. You may want to send my mail because I've emancipated.
Yeah.
And then we just started talking, and she would call every day. And our relationship really changed and evolved, where she really became my best friend. And I know, again, like some folks in the family won't understand it, but also folks have never even taken the time to like ask, like, when did it shift for you? When did it change? And I think it changed when I had the like more education, right? You're more aware of things. Having more understanding. I don't know what it's like to have a kid and they're just having kids and giving them to you, right? And you're now responsible for, and it is the 80s and your kids are on drugs and different things like that. And so when I say my grandma made sure we knew who our parents were, she took us to those programs. Like she's doing this inpatient program. We went to see her there.
Yeah.
When I drive down LA, I can say, oh, I remember when she was in a program there.
Yeah.
I can remember when she was like in a program there. Again, never being ashamed of any of it. And so that's when I joke and say like, yeah, they could have taken us because I don't think they know or they knew you were doing those different things. But again, blessed to have the opportunity to just having the chance to understand her. And when she did depart, we were good. And I thanked her for everything. You know, I had this feeling like she was holding on for my little brother who's incarcerated, and he called and he thanked her for everything. And she literally transitioned like
Right after
that night. And I was just like, job well done. Like,
Hey, mom forever.
like you, like
was a
you
mom
did it.
forever.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
growing up, I didn't feel that way because it felt hard. Why do we have to do these things? Why are you so strict? Why can my older sister, her name is China. Why can China have a sleepover and I didn't have my first sleepover till college? Like that protective of us. Like
Sure. But you in particular.
me
You in
and
particular.
me in particular.
Yeah.
And so I don't, girl, we could talk to you forever. You in particular, and also you're just, Mercedes, I'm not just saying this because we're colleagues and friends, but you have this certain kind of light and energy about you. And I love that you're not a typical therapist too. So I know there's a whole like decade worth of work between when you got to San Diego, became a student at State, went to grad school, got your master's, and only because we have so much time left to carry on the story, but you again, now fast forward, bachelor's, master's, licensed clinical social worker, did that work, got all that. Now you're an entrepreneur and you
It's
have this
so
private practice.
much.
Yeah.
It's
but there's a twist
nonstop.
to it. It's really nonstop. And I
That's
think
good. That's great.
Thank you.
It
Thank
is.
you.
Yeah. I did want to bring up, because after hearing about your story, and then I know you emphasize a lot on you're able to reflect on like the way that you grew up. I feel like a lot of times when people are going through the motions of it, of course they're not going to realize exactly what's panning out. And sometimes when people get older, they probably can't even they might not have the ability to look back on it and think constructively, like just like how you did. I feel like one of the greatest things of how people are able to analyze that is because you were able to go through education. And I feel like when we're learning about these subjects like sociology, social work, that a lot of the examples that we pull from is our own life experiences.
Most definitely.
So you think critically on that. And what I loved about like my education story is that everything that I learned, I reflected it off how it was that I grew up, what neighborhood that we were a part of, and et cetera. The fact to hear it from you and you took all that, it's still to this day still pushing you forward, because I think you are able to realize how hard your upbringing was, and you realize you just using that as your fuel to get you to become a therapist, realizing that you had to do that motion for yourself, and you still have everything else that's going on. Can you talk about not just you being a therapist and you being an educator? What's the other project that you're working on?
Well, the 816.
Yes,
It's
yes.
the way you do therapy.
The way I do therapy, and then a comment to the education piece. It really is education. I took a substance abuse class to learn substance, just to understand my biological mother. And after taking that class, I had a better understanding of disease model, medical
Yes.
model, and it changed grace and what grace looked like for me and extending that grace to her. So education is it's so important. And
I need
so,
to go back to school.
Yes. Come on,
I'm sorry.
LCSW, JR.
Thank you.
Come on. I'm waiting. I'm just
She
waiting.
went to USC. She's a
Oh,
USC
for real?
MSW
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk with you on the side then.
Okay,
I need that
yes,
advice.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But talk about 816. We
USC,
got
class of 2012, MSW.
Fight on
Yes,
Let's
yes,
DSW.
fight
go.
on. Yes, yes.
So I've got
baby
Fast
here.
forward, we're down here with 816 culinary therapy that was birthed 5 years ago on August 16, 2020.
Yay.
My grandmother was born August 16, 1942.
Oh,
So
that's
816 is an
why.
homage to her. It's her birthday.
Oh, I love that.
Something I can have. Or not something I can have. My love for culinary
Calculated.
therapy is
Everything is
using
calculated
it
with
is,
you.
It is. I try to be intentional in everything that I do. But my love for cooking was birthed in her kitchen. And culinary therapy is this combination of mental health and cooking, and it's using mindfulness cooking to heal souls and heal bodies. And there's a way to get in the kitchen and talk anxiety and depression and make a meal. And so when I think of food and my upbringing, I was always in the kitchen, like voluntold, like, we're about to clean green, peel yams. So like when the holidays came, we were the house, right? So it's like buckets of chitlins I'm cleaning, like peeling thousands of yams, cleaning greens, all of that. And so I love to cook. And that was the one thing my grandmother and I always had. And so no matter how mad I was for something, a punishment, whatever, if she called me to be in the kitchen, I was getting in the kitchen because that's just something I love. And so during my time of accumulating hours for licensure, I was at San Diego Youth Services working as a volunteer therapist with the Counseling Cove program. And I was just like, I don't even know. I'm getting these hours. Hurry up. Peers are passing me up. What's going on? Like, why is it taking so long? And I was like, God, what do you want me to do with this? And 2 minutes later, the Holy Spirit literally was like, culinary therapy. And I looked up and I was like, what? Culinary therapy. I hear you. And I
so
laughed because I
sick.
was like, I love to cook that much. You're giving me like culinary. As I'm pursuing therapy and just wanting to have a niche, right? Because I believe every therapist should have a niche and should
Yes.
stand out.
Yes.
You've given me culinary therapy and you've given me something I love and I could wake up doing with my eyes closed. And so then I stayed on that pursuit of licensure and accumulating hours, got my hours. And during the pandemic, we were in the house. That was the first time we had to like sit with ourselves and each other, and we couldn't run away and like get lost in anything, right? And so I just got creative with wanting to create different recipes in the pantry. And it was actually like uplifting. We would have food giveaways at City College where students could like drive up and we would put food in the trunk. And I would volunteer because that was like my only way to get out of the house. Yeah. And we started coming up with competitions like, let's see what you can make with the items from the food pantry.
Right.
And so I got in on that. Like, okay, like this is therapeutic. It's healing me. And if it's healing me, I know it can heal others. And God gave me culinary therapy 4 years ago. But I was just caught up in this concept of, will they understand it? And so when I started talking to my dear cousin, friend, and mentor, Dr. Valinda Bowens, she was like, that sounds great. I'm like, I need a name. And we're like, heart and bowl and heart. We just know it's something from the heart.
Crenshaw Kitchen.
Yes, Crenshaw Kitchen. My grandma used to say it's extra love when you do it with your hands. So I don't mind getting my hands dirty and things like that. And so I said, well, I want to honor her.
Yeah.
And then 816 came about. And being a kid, I've just always been different. Always like just extra, like I have a science report. Granny, I need a 3D board. What do you need a 3D board for? You know, like I have a book report and I have to give it in front of class, but I want to dress up like Mary Kate and Ashley. So I need a trench coat and a magnifying glass because it's Mary Kate and Ashley pet detectives. Like that different, right? That's why she said I was a different one. And so just the name just had to be creative. So I was like, 8, no, I don't want the number 8. I want to spell it out, and then half 16th. And so 816 Culinary Therapy is in homage to her because my love for cooking was birthed in her kitchen. And I have this passion and love for mental health, and just merging the two and being able to merge the two has been a blessing. Being able to bring or to make folks aware of how therapeutic a kitchen can be and how sometimes it may feel like a chore, but there's a way to do it mindfully where it feels relaxing and you enjoy it and you look forward to it. And so I started in the pandemic on Zoom and literally got my first gig with the Blue Heart Foundation and coming in and creating the Mindful Heart program. And I would meet with young Black boys every second Saturday of the month. And I would provide the recipe card like weeks in advance. And they would show up with their groceries like ready. And I'm like, okay, I'm averaging about like 20, 23 boys. Oh, y'all believe this shit? Okay, cool. Y'all let's work. Let me practice and let's build together. And so I'm so grateful for the Blue Heart Foundation and having that opportunity. And we just had a workshop yesterday.
Yeah. And what did you also just get recently from the city? Was the city of San Diego or the county of San Diego?
What else?
You're so sweet. And I know another thing. And so, yes, generational wealth is important. Legacy is important. And so yesterday we received a proclamation from the County of San Diego and Monica Montgomery's office in District 4 to make August 16th, 816 Culinary Day in San Diego. Yeah. So we officially have a day.
In the whole county.
In the whole county, and that's what legacy looks like for me. So next August 16th, I imagine maybe putting together my first like wellness fair, but like an innovative wellness fair where we're bringing in different practitioners that do different things like culinary therapy to heal folks and just uplift the community. I'm a community baby. I love things community.
I love that so much. That's so sick.
Thank you. God is good. Like, if you would have told me like this young girl, this young foster kid, like crack baby, like literally born 2 pounds, full term in an incubator. I was born in February. I didn't go home till October of '88. Like I would be sitting here. I would be a social worker. All the social workers that came in and out of our household that we dealt with. And I would have said, when I grow up, I want to be a social worker. Like never, ever, but a firm believer that God equips the called, and like if you're called to do the work, like he's gonna equip you. So like you're called to get this MSW, he's gonna give you the schedule that you need, the mentors that you need to get it done and get your MSW. And so I can't wait for you to get it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I've gotten so much motivation just hearing about you right now.
Thank you.
Like, and it's still going, and I'm truly impressed because like even. I may have known of you for the past 2 years, but to hear all this.
I know this is our first in-person
for
meeting.
Real.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot about you. And that you're a great person.
Thank
honestly.
You,
Just keep it going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Lifting as we climb always. And Kirin, always thank you for lifting as you climb and as you continue to climb and put folks on. And that's what it's all about. And I don't think God's given me this thing to just keep it to myself. It's meant to share it with the world. And so I want to put other people who love cooking and mental health. I believe that there's other culinary therapists out there, and there's just enough to go around for everybody. And I'm not a gatekeeper because I'm community. I'm a product of community. And so I'm going to always be in my community. And I've been blessed to be here in San Diego the last 19 years. And so eventually one day I'm going to get back to LA and impact it in a different way. I do drive up and like do different culinary workshops there. Like I was at Compton College this year. Nice. But I do want to impact the city in a different way there. But just even having that day lets me know like legacy. Job well done in San Diego.
It's gonna happen.
Like
I see it with you. It's gonna happen.
No matter what. I mean, the impact that you make anywhere you go, you're bringing the entire city that you're from with you.
That's right.
No matter where you go, and that's what matters. And yes, you will impact. You're already repping hard, and you're already showing that.
You've been since you got here, right?
Yes, always. Hardly home, always repping, always probably home. But people will joke and say, I thought you lived in LA. I'm like, I've been in San Diego 19
a
years,
minute.
and they'll say, all this time I thought you're still LA. And I'm like, that's how much I love my city. But I love San Diego too. It's changed me and it's grown me as a person.
Well, also Cal claims you at this point. That's what
Yes, it does.
Mercedes, thank you so much. You're such a blessing.
Thank you for
my God,
having
I'm
me.
so happy we know you.
I'm so happy I know y'all. I know we probably went past time, but just
That's all right.
thank you for opening up space and providing space. And I just love true, authentic dialogue. And so what you see is what you get. And this is how I show up for my clients, for my colleagues, for my friends.
Always
And
keep
where
it
can
real.
people find
Always
you?
keeping it real.
What's the website? What's the Instagram?
You can
Where
find me at
find you?
816culinarytherapy.com. I
Is
am
it
on
816
It is
or
EIGHT 16 on Instagram. So 816 Culinary Therapy. We're also on Facebook, 816 Culinary Therapy. And we're on LinkedIn.
Beautiful.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Thank you, Mercedes.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Follow us. Thank you.
Mercedes,
Dear Mercedes.
Yay, we
Dude.
did it.